So a very weird story developed over the weekend involving Noel Casler, who is currently a stand-up comedian, but he was a former staffer for The Apprentice for 6th season, and he also worked with Donald Trump in the 90s on some of Donald Trump's beauty pageants. During a recent performance, Noel Casler said the following. I worked on a bunch of those beauty pageants he had in the 90s too. He would line up the girls on the side of the stage and he would inspect them literally. He would line them up like they were pieces of meat. He'd be like, you, and you. If you want to win, I'm in the penthouse suite. Come and see me. That's a pretty strong accusation for Noel Casler to make, and he insists that this was not part of his comedy routine. This was part of what he witnessed while working for Donald Trump. But he then went on to say something else here. Trump is a speed freak. He crushes up his Adderall and he sniffs it because he can't read, so he gets really nervous when he has to read the cue cards. Now, when he says the president can't read, he doesn't obviously mean that the president can't physically read. It's just he gets nervous reading cue cards or reading from teleprompters. We have all seen that. He also said, this Adderall thing helps explain his erratic behavior, his mania. And here's the problem. Is Casler telling the truth? Do we know? Can we verify this? And the answer actually is yes, we can. Because magazine articles, exposés, investigative pieces from the late 80s and 90s actually already talked about these issues. They corroborate, specifically an article from Spy Magazine, they corroborate what Casler is saying here. So, does that vindicate Casler 100% and say that yes, he is telling the truth? It does not. But it does lend more credence to what he is actually telling us here. Now, it's perfectly possible that Casler had read those articles and just decided to use those, work those into his comedy routine. But he insists that he is not making that up. This was not part of the joking portion of his routine, and these were actually things that he witnessed and learned about while he was working for Donald Trump. He said he also had to sign a 24-page non-disclosure agreement, but once Trump decided to run for president, he decided, screw it, I'm going to tell everything so that the world knows who you really are. Now, in terms of the crushing up the Adderall, snorting it, that would fall in line with what we see from Donald Trump's behavior, right? Any kind of speed or, amphetamine in that man would help explain the way he is, the way he tweets, the way he talks, the way he interacts with people, the way he's constantly bored and fidgeting and seeming like he wants to get out of there because he's got all this nervous energy. It does, fit the description there. Now, we can't say for certain that that is what it is. There's also a very good chance that there's just some kind of underlying mental illness, mental instability with the president, or, much more likely, it could be a combination of all of the above. I guess we won't know. Maybe we'll never truly know the truth about any of this. But considering the fact that Casler's claims have been corroborated by magazine investigations in the past, I think it's probably a safe bet to believe that Casler is the one telling the truth here. One of our sponsors for today's videos is Skillshare.com. Skillshare.com is a website that allows users to learn whatever skill it is they're looking to learn, whether it's to better yourself to get a better career, or you're looking to just expand your horizons personally. Skillshare.com has the videos and tutorials that you need to do everything from learn how to be a better cook, learn a second or even third language, or learn video editing and Photoshop skills, and everything in between. Skillshare.com has it all. And if you use the custom URL in this video and also in the description to this video, the first 500 people to use that will get 2 months absolutely free. That's 2 months to go through the entire Skillshare.com catalog and learn whatever skill it is you've been wanting to learn. So don't put it off any longer. If there's something you want to learn how to do, again, maybe it's for a career change, maybe it's for a better position, or maybe just something you really want to know, check out Skillshare.com using the custom URL below, and the first 500 will get 2 months absolutely free.